Yeah. When you're not doing comedy, I know you're playing golf. Yes, I know you love golf.
Yeah.
But then you had to stop playing for a while because you tore both rotator cuffs. You ready for this? Doing a push-up contest. Why?
Hold on. Losing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Losing a push-up contest. Yeah.
You
not
said
doing.
it like maybe I won.
Yeah, no, sorry. I just can't. No, you did not.
No. Yeah.
But you're getting back to your game?
No, like golf saved my life. Like,
What if one comedian, just one man with a microphone, knew the darkest secrets of Hollywood's most powerful elite years before the rest of the world even had a clue? What if that man walked into one of the most watched interviews in internet history and said out loud in front of millions of people, "I know things. I have receipts, and all of this is about to come out." And then, one by one, every single thing he predicted actually happened. That man is Katt Williams, and what he did in early 2024 didn't just shake Hollywood. It cracked open one of the biggest, most disturbing scandals in the history of the music industry. Today we're breaking down the full story. How Katt Williams saw it all coming, what secrets had been buried for years, and how one viral interview changed everything. Stay until the end, because the deeper this story goes, the darker it gets. Before we get into the explosion, let's talk about the man who lit the match. Katt Williams is widely regarded as one of the greatest stand-up comedians of his generation. He's raw, he's unfiltered, and he has never, not once in his entire career, been afraid to say what other people refuse to say out loud. But here's what most people underestimate about Katt Williams. This man has been in Hollywood since the early 1990s. He didn't just perform on stages, he was in the rooms. The rooms where deals get made, the rooms where power gets traded, the rooms that most of us will never even know exist. Over the course of 30 years in the entertainment industry, he watched, he listened. He collected information that he knew, someday, would matter. And it cost him. He was blackballed. He was laughed at. He was dismissed for years, but he never sold that information. He never traded it for access or money. He held on to it. He explained it himself, plainly and directly. Because the people want to know, why would he get blackballed? Yeah, because in 30 years I've done nothing but collect information, knowledge, and your secrets. This wasn't a man looking for attention. This wasn't someone chasing relevance. This was a man who had been sitting on a time bomb for 3 decades. And on January 3, 2024, he finally lit the fuse. On that day, Katt Williams sat down with former NFL star Shannon Sharpe on his podcast, Club Shay Shay. Nobody knew it at the time, but this conversation would become one of the most watched interviews in internet history. The podcast would eventually surpass 80 million views on YouTube. Not because of the comedy, not because of the sports talk, but because of what Katt Williams chose to reveal. The interview ran for nearly 3 hours. Williams spoke about his career, his struggles in the industry, his personal battles. But roughly halfway through, the energy in that room shifted. And when it shifted, it didn't come back. Williams brought up Sean Diddy Combs. Not in passing, not as a throwaway comment. He brought him up deliberately, as part of a larger conversation about integrity, about the price of fame, and about what he saw as a culture of compromise inside Hollywood. And then he dropped something that made Shannon Sharpe go completely silent. Williams revealed that over the years he had been offered $50 million. Not once, not twice, but 4 separate times. He turned all of it down. Why? Because of what that money came with? He said he had declined invitations to Diddy's parties. Repeatedly. And he made it crystal clear why. Just to protect my integrity, because P. Diddy be wanting to party and you gotta tell him no. You gotta tell him no. I did. I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. Sit with that for a second. $50 million. 4 times. And he said no, because he knew what those parties were. He knew what happened behind those closed doors. He knew what the yes actually cost, and he refused to pay it, no matter what it meant for his career. That took a level of courage that is almost impossible to overstate. But the most chilling moment of the entire interview wasn't about the money. After talking about Diddy's parties, Katt Williams looked directly into the camera and made a statement that would haunt people for months. He didn't call it a theory. He didn't frame it as speculation. He said it like a man who already knew the ending to a story that hadn't been published yet. All of these big deviants are catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if it's Diddy or whoever you is. TD Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. and anyone who takes that the wrong way know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light. When the interview aired, most people laughed it off. The internet turned it into memes. Commentators called him unstable, irrelevant, attention-seeking. The mainstream media barely covered it. But Katt Williams wasn't guessing. He told Shannon Sharpe directly, "I know so many things I shouldn't know, and they all know it." Within a matter of months, every word he said would be proven right. Fast forward to March 2024. Federal agents from the Department of Homeland Security descended on Sean Diddy Combs' homes in Los Angeles and Miami, simultaneously. 2 cities, 1 coordinated raid. The subject, a federal sex trafficking investigation. What they walked out with was staggering. Agents seized firearms, electronics containing recordings of encounters, narcotics, and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Over 1,000 bottles. This wasn't a rumor. This wasn't tabloid gossip. Federal agents with warrants had walked into the homes of one of the most powerful men in entertainment history and walked out with evidence. Then in May 2024, the full public reckoning began. CNN released hotel surveillance footage from 2016. The footage showed Diddy in a hotel hallway violently attacking his then-girlfriend, singer Cassie Ventura, grabbing her, throwing her, kicking her while she tried to escape. Combs issued a public apology, saying his behavior was inexcusable and that he took full responsibility. But an apology wasn't going to stop what was already in motion. The lawsuits had already started piling up, one after another. Victims coming forward. Women, men, some of them minors at the time of the alleged incidents. The dam had broken, and the flood was not stopping. Then came September 16th, 2024.
Guys can play it, excel at it, and be vicious on the field, and no other sport even offers that. So golf saved me and saved my rotator cuffs and my life.
Yeah, I did, yeah. And you told me you travel now with a crew when you golf with a crew of like 80-year-old men, and you golf with them. That's you.
That's who saved my life. Like these 80-year-old golfers showed me how to play this sport without hurting myself and without extending beyond my boundaries. And they showed me what golf is about, and that's my posse.
Yeah. And when you're on the course, I know that to go to your happy place, and tell me if I'm wrong about this, but
Sean Diddy Combs, one of the most commercially dominant figures in the history of hip-hop, was arrested in the lobby of a Midtown Manhattan hotel by federal agents. The charges were not minor. Prosecutors alleged that since at least 2008, Combs had been operating as part of a criminal enterprise engaged in sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. 3 federal criminal counts. The full weight of the United States government coming down on a man who had, for decades, appeared completely untouchable. He was denied bail and ordered held at a federal detention center in Brooklyn while he awaited trial. The man who had once thrown parties for presidents, Grammy-winning artists, and A-list celebrities was now behind bars. And the details of the federal charges painted a picture darker than almost anyone had imagined. Prosecutors alleged that Combs personally directed these encounters, often recording them, and distributed controlled substances to victims to keep them compliant. He allegedly used those recordings as leverage, threatening to destroy careers, cut off financial support, and expose victims publicly if they didn't cooperate. He reportedly monitored their whereabouts, controlled their appearance, and dictated their relationships. This wasn't just abuse, this was a system. A deliberate, calculated, years-long operation built entirely on power, fear, and silence. After the arrest, something remarkable happened. The entire internet went back and rewatched the Club Shay Shay interview. People who had laughed in January were now watching in stunned silence. Clips went viral all over again. The video crossed 80 million views on YouTube, and Katt Williams wasn't done talking. In a follow-up interview with GQ for their Men of the Year issue, he spoke openly about why he had said what he said and what it all meant. He talked about his connection to Tupac Shakur, about loyalty, about what it means to refuse to look the other way when you already know the truth about someone. And then he said something that cuts straight to the heart of this entire story. It's the age of truth. It's not that people haven't been wanting the truth. It's that, for the first time ever, the viciousness to keep these secrets at bay and the ability to keep you from knowing things, right now, doesn't really apply. Think carefully about what he's saying. The people who had the power to suppress these secrets, the fixers, the gatekeepers, the ones who made problems disappear and kept mouths shut for decades, they are losing their grip. The machinery that protected abusers for years is breaking down, and the truth is coming out whether anyone wants it to or not. Katt Williams saw that shift before almost anyone else did, and he used his platform to say it out loud when silence would have been far safer and far more profitable. When the trial began in 2025, the testimony that shook the world hardest came from Cassie Ventura, Diddy's former girlfriend of over a decade. She testified in detail about what prosecutors described as drug-fueled encounters that Combs allegedly orchestrated and controlled. Encounters that, according to her testimony, could last for days at a time. She testified that Combs controlled nearly every aspect of her life during their relationship, that she participated in things out of pure fear, that physical violence was a regular reality, that leaving, truly leaving, felt impossible, that speaking out felt dangerous in ways that went far beyond just losing a career, and the emotional control went just as deep as the physical. She described a relationship built entirely on fear, where her independence had been systematically stripped away over years. She wasn't the only one. More accusers followed. More voices. More stories that had been buried under money, power, and silence for years, finally seeing the light. Here's what this story is really about. Katt Williams didn't just predict the fall of one man. He warned the world that the problem was larger than any individual. He said it explicitly, all lies will be exposed. It don't matter if you're Diddy or whoever you is. He was talking about a culture inside Hollywood and the music industry where power is used to protect abuse, where fame functions as a shield, where money silences victims before they even find the courage to speak, where parties aren't just parties, they're traps, and where the people who know the truth stay quiet because the price of speaking feels too high. Katt Williams refused to participate in that culture. He started at the bottom. He was blackballed by the industry's most powerful players. He was mocked and dismissed for years, and through all of it, he never sold himself out. He turned down $50 million 4 separate times because he understood what that money actually cost. As of April 2026, the Diddy saga is still playing out. At sentencing in October 2025, the judge handed down a term of just over 4 years in federal prison, along with a $500,000 fine. His projected release date from federal custody is currently April 15, 2028. His legal team continues to fight. Appeals are ongoing. But what cannot be erased is the fact that one comedian, one man who spent 30 years collecting the truth, stood up in front of the world and said what he knew when it was still dangerous to say it. So what do we actually take away from all of this? It's not just about Diddy. It's not just about Katt Williams. It's not even just about the music industry. It's about what happens when power goes unchecked long enough that the people holding it start to believe they can never be touched. It's about what happens when an entire industry, full of people who all know the same secrets, decides that looking away is more comfortable than speaking up. And it's about what happens when one person decides that the truth matters more than the money, more than the career, more than the comfort of silence. Katt Williams said it himself. I know so many things I shouldn't know, and they all know it. He paid for that knowledge. He paid with his reputation, his career opportunities, and years of being called unstable and out of his mind. But he never gave it away for $50 million. And when the moment finally came, when the world was ready to hear it, he stood in front of a camera and told the truth. He called it the age of truth. And if the last 2 years have shown us anything, he was right. It's here, and it's just getting started. If this video opened your eyes, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and drop a comment below. What do you think Katt Williams still hasn't said? We'll see you in the next one.